Jason, welcome, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. We always talk
Oh,
about the most happy, exciting things, so I'm excited to chat today.
well, we're gonna start by talking about something very serious, which is Donald Trump went to the Supreme Court.
Is he actually there? Because I just have to say, on January
It's
6th, 2021, I was right by the Supreme Court at the Capitol, and Trump supporters were telling me that Donald Trump was going to walk arm in arm with people to the Capitol, and
yeah.
he did not do that. That did not happen. So he has a history of lying. So I want to make sure this is actually happening.
Uh, yeah, we are told, CNN just said, we're told, this is Wolf Blitzer, so you know it's legit. We are told President Trump has just left the Supreme Court. But half an hour before that, Trump is sitting front row in the Supreme Court as justices hear arguments on his EO on to end birthright citizenship. He is the first sitting president to ever attend oral arguments.
Well, trying to find a way to make it all about himself. And I wonder, did he heckle them at any point? Did he yell stuff out
Here's
loud that happened?
you lie. No, I could see him making that face, the mugshot face.
Yeah. This pouty
And
face.
right, pouty face. I could see him falling asleep. Here are some of Trump's favorite courtroom activities because we know because we've seen
Yeah.
our man in court before. Pouty face, falling asleep, huffing. He huffs. Sometimes I've heard that from Robbie Kaplan when he
Yeah.
does depositions. He huffs. Angry face. His
Yes.
Churchill kind of he tries to do Churchill, a little angry
Yeah.
face. I want to go back to this for a second because Donald Trump has had a very fraught relationship with the Supreme Court, of which he has installed three justices are his, right? And then two are practically, right? So Gorsuch, Barrett, and
Kavanaugh.
Kegstand Kavanaugh are his. Then Alito and Thomas are basically Fox News hosts at this point. Not to put too fine a point on it. And Roberts, known disliker of the Voting Rights Act, is supposedly the center, but he's, So, birthright citizenship, why Donald Trump gives a fuck about this is something to think about and sort of baffling.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason he's there is, well, number one, he always likes to make everything about himself. We all know
Right.
that. It's been 10, 11 years. Gosh, this is breaking my brain whenever I think about this, of him just trying to like inject himself into everything in politics and culture and everything. And him going here, which makes no sense because number one, he doesn't really care about the law. Like
Right.
he
Right.
doesn't care about the
We got
finer points of law. He doesn't
right,
care
we
about
gotta
the
change
arguments.
this
He's not
law
gonna be like,
because
oh, you
God
missed this
forbid.
point
Right.
that you should have made there. It's really just about the spectacle of doing that and like hearing, oh, I can be one of the first presidents. I can go and do this. This is all about me. It reminds me of when in 2016 at the RNC when Ted Cruz was speaking and Donald Trump like showed up like it was like WWE Raw and like his car pulls up and then he like shows up in the arena and everyone cheers for him so nobody is
Yeah.
looking at Ted Cruz. It's just a way to like make himself front and center here. But
Yeah.
like the actual ruling, I mean, do we know what the rule you with your expertise and your ear to
In the
the
Supreme
ground?
Court? Well, because I'm a
Yes,
lawyer too.
yes.
No, no. So the general court watcher, and I think your point is right. Donald Trump does not care if it's legal or illegal. So the irony of him going to the Supreme Court to try to influence their lawmaking is pretty rich. Most people think in Supreme Court world think that this was like one of those fakey cases that they took because they could rule it was like a feel good case where they could unanimously rule that the Constitution gets to stay the Constitution for another day. And then they could do all the other really craven, really partisan things like knocking down the Voting Rights Act and,
Right.
killing all the whales. But which that's not in their purview, but they set it up so they can kill the whales. I only heard a little bit of the oral arguments. I haven't listened to all of it, but I did hear Robert say something about how old the Constitution is, which, speaking of broken brains, like These people are pretending to be textualists. They're pretending to be obsessed with the text of the Constitution. So the idea that it's so old that maybe we should throw it out now.
Which is a little bit, it's like just they made these rulings on the Second Amendment. They've made these. It's like, yeah, it's old. Those things are
Yeah.
old, and now we're
Mhm.
saying this is the part that's too old
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
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 It's like, well, I guess you know what? The ship's going down. Whatever.
I
Just,
mean, right?
just
It's
throw it
like,
all
I
out.
mean,
Yeah.
the larger point of lawlessness, the law, and Trump's total disregard for it, I think should be the top line here. So even if he makes a little trip to the Supreme Court to give dirty looks to Amy Coney Barrett and Justice Gorsuch, as one does.
It was not a joke when I asked this. Did he heckle? Did he interrupt anybody? Did that happen? Because like I can't imagine him sitting there. And the reason he left because it was, after 30 minutes was he was like, "Oh, this is boring.
Yeah.
There's no cameras here. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't
That's
want to be here.
exactly right.
I already
Wait,
did what I said I'd do, so I don't want to be here anymore." Yeah,
producer
yeah.
Jesse just sent me something that Marco would lose his birthright citizenship, which may be actually why Donald Trump is doing this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or JD
I
Vance is behind the scenes, like doing like trying to
um
pull the strings here. I'm
now
next. I'm
now
next. It's
now
me.
enough of this silliness. Let's get to a really serious topic. And one of the many reasons why you're joining me today, you were at one of my favorite, and I don't even mean this too ironically, things, which is CPAC. So CPAC is no longer a national harbor in scenic Maryland. It is now in Grapeville, Texas. Where even is that?
It's like right by the Dallas Fort Worth airport, like in between Dallas and Fort Worth. So, but it's at the Gaylord. It's the same.
Same
It like
brand.
looks. It's the same brand, and it like
Yeah.
has the big like there's like a big glass ceiling and fountains, and it has the same feel. The Gaylord in Maryland, but it definitely did not have any star power. Like people didn't realize CPAC was happening. Anyone I talked to in Dallas had no idea CPAC was there, or even like some of them were just like, "What's CPAC?" But it was not like a news story that CPAC was happening there in Dallas. And obviously the headliner wasn't there. Donald Trump wasn't there. JD Vance wasn't there, although you can't even put them even up close to the same
Right.
tier.
But
But
JD Vance even wasn't there?
no, no, RFK Jr. was there. And like I think like I said this the other day, but Ted Cruz was like the second biggest star on Saturday, which is like a terrible sign because it's
Well,
like he is not like he does not like put the butts in the seat, Ted Cruz. Although he
uh,
likes to think of himself that way, he
the
definitely does
Shah,
not.
the son of the Shah of Iran.
Yes, and actually there was a lot of Iranian people there
Right.
who were there supporting Donald Trump and the quote unquote operation, not a war operation
Right.
in Iran right now. And that was like I would like I don't want to speculate on the numbers, but it was like a large percentage of the tickets I think were sold to them because the actual hall where the speakers were speaking was most of the time just not filled, like 50% filled.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so it was like it definitely didn't feel like the CPACs of the
Of
past.
of the
Yeah.
times when we went. So
And I
in
love that you just love CPAC. You're like, "I
I
just
love
love it."
well,
You're like you were just looking back at it like, "Oh, my
I
CPAC. I love
I
my
here's
CPAC."
why I
Oh,
love CPAC. If you're gonna make fun of me, I'm gonna
I'm
justify
not
this.
making fun of you. This
Listen,
is just
it,
I'm just calling it like I see it
yeah.
here.
So the reason I love CPAC is a couple of reasons. One is because I think that you get to see them the right workshop ideas.
Yeah.
So you get to see them start an idea, try to perfect it, see if it works, doesn't work. Like, for example, one year I went and Donald Trump was talking about how AOC was going to take away all your hamburgers. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
didn't last for very long, though, for the
No, you just
hamburger
get to
thing.
see all the sort of
Right.
the culture war issues they're trying to perfect. He had a whole thing about abortion where they throw the baby in the garbage. That did last. He just
Yeah.
had these kind. You could see these, and you'd even see it in the titles of the panels.
Forum,
We are
yeah.
all domestic terrorists. Remember that?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, that
that was
was a
great. It was
little
very
on the
telling.
nose.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
little too on the nose. Yeah, this year it seemed like, 1, just because the attendance was down, the ticket prices were down, Like, I think it was $47 for a ticket, the
Whoa.
day before, and
Wow.
usually, like, when Trump was there, if you just wanted to get, like and that was for, like, for the whole you could that's for all 3 or 4 days was the
Right.
$47. And then for one day, I think when Trump was speaking in 2022, it was like 250 or something like that, if you wanted to get, like, a last minute ticket. So, like, that's just that there's just basic economics there. That's like
Right.
they're not selling the tickets, the prices are lower. But it did feel like, from the people we talked to who are under the age of 60, that a lot of the people we talked to were, like, just going to see, like, the death of CPAC and just see if it really was dead. These are guys, I'm gonna say guys because they were
Right.
all men, young men who were there, who were, like, from the Turning Point crew, and it became clear kind of, like, what the future of the Republican Party is,
Yeah.
and it's weird because, like, you always look at Donald Trump as the and I've always kinda looked at it like this, like, Donald Trump is the head of the snake. He is, like, wherever he slithers, the party
Right.
follows, and now it seems like this is, like, a Christian nationalism, white nationalism viewpoint that is, like, a little bit not that Trump wasn't part of that, but this was something that is, like, independent of Trump and is a little bit scarier because it is so the religious aspect is so important, and
Yeah.
it's kind of baked into the racist parts of it too, in a way that, like,
Yeah.
you don't hear with Trump, where Trump will be like, like they're rapists coming into the country and use all these dog whistles. And it was never about like a mission from God or being
Right.
blessed by God or being the people
Right.
blessed by God. So it's a little terrifying to see kind of all that bubble up to the surface now. And knowing that like the next generation is not like they're the Trump generation in a way, but it's kind of like a religious movement that I haven't seen in my lifetime, anything like that in the United States of America. It's like there's like a fanaticism to it. Excuse me. So it was that part was like a little unsettling.
So let's talk about that because that was the thing. I mean, among other things that I really wanted to talk to you about was this idea that the party is now a sort of Christian nationalist party, which is what it sounds like you're saying. I love you to talk about like what are the elements of it? Like I saw an interview you did where you talked about it and you said there's like an expansionist manifest destiny kind of element to it. That there's can you talk about that?
Sure, sure. And look, this is like these are from conversations with like 5 people at
Yeah.
CPAC. Like this is
No, but
not this
but
is
you see, the reason I love CPAC is because you get stuff like this. You get to see, because you are there with the very, very, the sort of most extreme. I mean, not the most, because obviously there are Roybers, but there's
right.
it's a very extreme group that's very interested politically and is yeah, go on.
But I think that there's, like, crossover with all of that, and also
For
and
sure.
yeah, I mentioned that the other night too, that, like, the Nick Fuentes of it all is becoming more I
Mainstream.
don't want yeah, it is mainstream, I was gonna say for lack of a better word, but yeah, it is kinda mainstream now, and more people and people you wouldn't suspect are like, "Yeah, I got this. Oh, this came up in my algorithm," or, "I'm a part of the Telegram group," or whatever, um so what I gathered was, a lot of them believe, and this is all like kind of the turning point, like this,
Hmm.
it's not even the subtext. It's like if you just listen to some of the stuff that Charlie Kirk was saying, this was like
Right.
part of it, was that, the United States was blessed by God because the white Europeans who came here and wiped out the native population, conquered the population here, that because there was a conquering of a land that is a blessing from God. And they are now blessed by God. And this is like a divine mission now. And because of that, there is some sort of like a vague and like a one person I talked to gave like a biblical reference to this, and it was like a book. Like I'm not like a Bible buff, but like
Right.
I've talked to enough people, and I went to Sunday school growing up. It was like some book in the Bible. I was like, what book was that again? I, where is that? Is that like the back? I got to look at the index. I have to go through the interview and see what it is. He was like, this is the proof that America is like this divine land and we need to keep it, pure, like using words like pure and things like that, which is like another word that I would hear whenever I would talk to people who were like talking
Mm,
about the Confederate flag and how it wasn't
yeah,
racist.
yeah,
Um, but the thing about this was that's a little unsettling is it's like you talk to at a Trump rally, I talk to somebody with a Confederate flag and they say something, kind of terrible. And you could tell because one, they're wearing a Confederate flag, saying it's not
right,
hate, but they're wearing
uh,
it. And
right,
everyone else is like, that's a hateful thing. And they're like, no, it's not. But they're usually older and usually a little more outward
right,
in how they feel. And with this like, the people that I talked to, one guy in particular, like, it was like a 10 minutes of a conversation before I, like, even made in my mind, I was like, "Oh, this is, like, white nationalist. This is, like,
mhm,
racist, and this is Christian nationalist. This is, like, using your religion as an excuse for oppression." Because he said, "I want Stephen Miller to be in charge
right.
of
It's a
deportations."
terrifying idea.
He
Yeah,
said, "There's not enough deportations. We need 50,000,000 more deportations." And I
right.
was like, "Is this?" I was like, "Am I being trolled right now?" And then, like, I looked up the guy on social media, and sure enough, it's been, his identity for a long time. So, it
Yeah,
is much more extreme, and you can't say this is where the whole party is going
right.
because who knows? But it's definitely where I think this, like, turning point group, which has become the dominant group in the conservative movement, is going, and there's a lot more young people there involved than, in my memory, have ever been involved with the Republican Party because of this
It's
religious element of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like what it sounds like to me is part of the sort of conservative movement to convince to sort of rule America was this goal of getting young people to make republicanism look cool, right?
Right.
And that was what Charlie Kirk did, right? Was that he tried to make it cool to be that type. I think that they made it cool or they made it appealing, right? Not cool, but they somehow, and in that melange, it became white nationalists. I mean, because they've basically radicalized a younger generation.
Yes, it is radicalized. Just because I mean, just thinking back on, like, I didn't know much about David Duke other than
Right.
he was this racist guy, in the '80s and '90s, and he was in the KKK and all that. And then, like, over Trump's rise, I started, like, becoming more and more interested in, like, what was he saying? Like, what would he say to the news? Not like
Right.
what was in his heart or, like, how racist he really was and blah, 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 which I think is a lot, he was very
Yeah.
racist,
I think for her,
obviously.
yes.
Um, but he was saying a lot of similar things to what I was
Right.
hearing, and it was like people, he almost was governor, right? Like, he almost
Yeah.
won in
Well,
in
yeah.
Louisiana, right? Was it governor or senate?
I
I just,
think
like,
I can't
read this.
remember.
Alright, whatever.
Yeah.
But he, did okay, and we kind of think like, "Oh, that was 20, 30 years ago. We've moved on, and we're bigger, and we're better than we
Right.
were then." But, like, these are the same sort of things that he was saying back
Right.
then, and there was a religious element to it, and it's it's been striking to be like, "Oh, this is a mainstream thing." Like, people are saying this, and they're saying it now because, like, there's so many people saying it, it's not just, like, one thought leader. Like, they're
Right.
saying it in several different ways, people are very affable, and
Right.
they'll discuss it with you, and they'll be like, "No, it's not racist. No, no, no," but then if you look at what they're actually saying, it's like, "No, it is. This is white nationalism, and it's Christian nationalism." So, I don't like it. I don't like it. I wanna say that for the record. I think it's
Yeah.
bad. It's like
Yeah.
with everything,
That's a
it's
very
not
hot
good.
take. Are
I
you
know it's a hot
sure?
take.
Yeah.
I should say it on record. I don't think it's a good thing. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a good thing.
No, and not going anywhere good. Jason, will you come back, please?
Yeah, of course. I will always come back, and I would do
Aw.
anything for you. I
Oh
would do
God, I
anything.
hope not.